analysis of Indian customs data by Investigate Europe reveals a concerning pattern. Aircraft parts originating from over 100 Western companies, including prominent players like Boeing, have found their way into the Russian aviation industry via India. This raises serious questions about the effectiveness of sanctions imposed on Russia following its full-scale invasion of Ukraine. The data, spanning a period up to September of last year, indicates a continuous flow of goods, often arriving in Russia within days of their initial shipment from Western manufacturers. This swift transit suggests a well-established, potentially clandestine network facilitating the circumvention of international sanctions. The UK government, acutely aware of this loophole, issued updated export guidelines in January, specifically addressing the issue of Russian sanctions evasion. These guidelines strongly emphasize the importance of due diligence for exporting businesses, urging them to meticulously verify the final destination of their products to ensure they do not inadvertently end up supplying the Russian military-industrial complex. The guidance underscores the UK's commitment to preventing the flow of Western technology that could bolster Russia's military capabilities and prolong the conflict in Ukraine. However, the data suggests that these guidelines, while well-intentioned, have not been entirely effective in stemming the tide of Western components reaching Russia via India. The sheer volume of parts, sourced from over 100 Western companies, including several British firms, points to a systemic problem rather than isolated incidents of accidental misdirection. This raises questions about the efficacy of current monitoring and enforcement mechanisms. The involvement of Indian companies in this trade adds another layer of complexity. While India has maintained a neutral stance regarding the Ukraine conflict, refraining from explicitly condemning Russia's actions and actively cultivating a friendly relationship with Moscow, its role in facilitating the transfer of Western technology to Russia warrants closer scrutiny. Investigate Europe's attempts to obtain comment from the Indian companies involved in these transactions proved unsuccessful, further highlighting the opacity surrounding this sensitive issue. The continued flow of Western aircraft parts to Russia, facilitated by this apparent Indian transit route, underscores a critical vulnerability in the international sanctions regime. The speed with which these components reach their ultimate destination, often within days of shipment, points to a highly organized and efficient system designed to exploit loopholes and undermine efforts to restrict Russia's access to crucial technology. This situation demands a comprehensive reassessment of sanctions enforcement strategies, perhaps including closer collaboration between Western governments and increased scrutiny of intermediary nations involved in such potentially illicit trade. The lack of response from Indian companies involved only amplifies the need for greater transparency and accountability in international commerce to effectively counter sanctions evasion and limit the flow of crucial resources to Russia's war machine. The implications for the ongoing conflict in Ukraine and for the effectiveness of international efforts to hold Russia accountable for its aggression are profound and warrant immediate attention from global policymakers.